Oh, it was terrible.
So like
it was Armageddon. It was the worst thing ever.
Thank you guys for joining us on Untitled Success once more. With me is Basem Wasef. Now, I'm not going to get into what he does. You guys are just going to have to figure it out, but it's every man's dream. That is the best way I could say it. So thank you for joining me.
And many women's dream, too.
And many women's dream, yeah. So the first question I always like to ask is, who were you in high school?
Who was I in high school? I was actually the car geek. Smaller version of myself because I was not popular in middle school. I had a miserable middle school experience.
Okay.
I got into high school, finally started to make friends, finally had my little circle. Mm-hmm. And then a defining moment came when, in an act of maybe generosity, maybe naive generosity, we'll say, my father bought me a Ford Mustang GT convertible. That became my personality. I had been a shy kid before. Uh-huh. I had this convertible V8, and I was all of a sudden driving to the top down, driving fast, being that guy. And it becomes a part of your identity. Yeah. Cars, for better or worse, are kind of it's like wearing a suit. Mm-hmm. It's like you present yourself to the world in a certain way. So I became that guy. I always read car magazines. I was obsessed with cars, and I had other interests too. I was, deep into photography. I would go into the photo lab for hours and print my own photos. I loved creative writing. I loved all these things, and it was a great period of becoming who I was.
Would you say in high school you were starting to be more outgoing? Or were you still to yourself, even though?
No, I definitely started to get out of my shell.
Get out of your shell?
Started, yeah.
So one of the things that I read about or kind of heard about you is that you used to sing Happy Birthday to your collection. Uh-huh. Can you tell us about this story?
I mean, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, but yeah, I was singing Happy Birthday to my Matchbox toys. My Matchbox cars. So yeah, the anthropomorphizing started early.
Yeah.
And that's what it is about machines. I think they talk to you in a way you get personality from them, and that's what I love about cars and motorcycles and planes and anything that's mechanical that you interact with. Mm-hmm. It's not just a machine. You have this relationship, and sometimes they're temperamental. Sometimes they really take care of you. Yeah. Sometimes they're more fun than others. It's a personality thing.
Now, after you finished high school, you went to UCLA. Mm-hmm. And you decided to pursue a career in journalism. Is that correct?
Not exactly. It didn't hit me until later. So, like a lot of good Egyptian boys, I was growing up with a family of doctors, and I thought I was going to be a doctor, and I studied to be a doctor. But first year at UCLA, I was like, oh, I could take film classes too. Oh, I can hang out on North Campus, the creative side of school, and take all these different classes. And it was a continuation of what I was doing in high school. I mean, I loved the creativity. But I started to say to myself, why can't I do this for a career instead of just... So I switched from thinking I was going to be pre-med to... I was always an English major. Mm-hmm. And I dove deep into the English and the creative arts.
Okay, can we sidetrack for a little bit? How did your parents feel?
Oh, it was terrible.
So
It was Armageddon. Yeah. It was the worst thing ever.
So I had someone else on. He's like, you have four options. You have doctor, engineer, what was the third one? Lawyer, or fourth one, family disappointment.
Pretty much. Yeah, they didn't get it. Okay. And, back in the day, this is pre a lot of things from today. I mean, this was pre-internet. This was pre, startups, So there was a really narrow track that they thought that you could succeed in. And the whole idea of making your own path just seemed too dangerous. They didn't like it. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, they still love me. But, I put them through heck. It was not easy because I was like, no, I want to do this. Why should I do that? Uh-huh. And it was a big point of contention.
Did you ever get their buy-in? After many years?
I think eventually they were proud of me. Yeah.
Okay.
It took them some time.
Yeah,
but
I can imagine.
They had to see, all they want, all any parent wants is to see their kids succeeding and happy and doing their own thing, whatever that means in terms of you can support yourself, if you can raise a family, you can do all the things that that they hope you want to do, like, then that's really secondary, you know? But it was a real lesson for me because I have a 14-year-old son, Augustine.
14 now?
He's 14.
Okay.
And you can only guide so much. They are who they are, you know, and we're born with these passions and interests and desires, and the way our brains work, we're all very individual in that way. And it's really important to embrace a kid's strengths, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you have to encourage them to expand beyond their comfort zone and learn things that they maybe don't want to learn. But at the end of the day, you know, we're individuals. And it was a blessing to have parents that love me so much. But, you know, it was also challenging.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Sometimes a little too much love sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're like, hey, I didn't come here so you can mess around.
Yeah.
Right? I came here so you can have a better life.
Yeah, the immigrant thing is real, for sure.
Yeah.
The mentality is very specific.
So what people don't know, or at least they're not going to figure out yet, is that you write reviews for vehicles, for luxury vehicles. When was the first time that you got exposure to this?
So I was doing something completely different. So out of college, I started working at Disney ABC Cable Networks, and I kind of rose through the ranks there, and I became a creative executive, and I was working on...
This is all in Burbank?
All in Burbank,
Okay.
yeah. I was working in music programming and reality TV. So concert series, and this is the days of like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears. And I was doing that, and I was having a good time, and I went off and I started doing editing. I did a couple of independent features and small productions and that I was producing. And while I was doing this and I was developing my production skills, I saw an ad for a lifestyle magazine that was looking for an automotive writer. And I just thought, like, it'd be kind of fun to just try that just for fun, have it be a side hobby, you know?
Yeah.
Do that while I do all this other stuff. And so I did it, and it started to grow, and it started to snowball, and it became a thing. And before I knew it, I was being invited to go to Europe to drive cars, and it just became a career. Like, it was great. Like, I was living my dream. I had no idea I was having that dream, but I fell into it, and I was pretty good at it. So that was great. But I continued in that path, and I also started producing videos. So producing automotive video. So alongside the journalism, I was doing that. I was writing some books here and there, and I ended up doing some consulting work. So all these things that I could have never planned myself.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have the vision to know that the tree could like expand like that, but it did. And now I have a production company, Chronoscope Productions, that does automotive marketing videos.
Yeah.
And we've done work for Bentley, for McLaren, for Ferrari, General Motors, and I'm still writing about cars, and I'm still doing consulting, and it's
let's
amazing.
take that very first aspect of things. So you decided to go into this writing for what kind of car was it at the time? Your very first write.
So my first assignment was summer convertibles.
Okay.
So they said, gather maybe 4 or 5 convertibles and compare them. So I cold called all the manufacturers I was interested in. I cold called Porsche, cold called Aston Martin, I cold called Ferrari, and I called Mercedes-Benz.
Just so I need to preface the viewers about this. When we say cold call, you're talking about going through the yellow books?
I literally was like Googling PR people for car companies and saying, hey, I can get you in this magazine. Just, you know, can you get me a car?
Okay.
Mercedes, literally within a week, I had a SL55 AMG in the garage. Ferrari said, how about a Maserati? Can you do a Maserati? And I was like, okay, Maserati Spider in the garage. Porsche 911 Cabriolet. And then Aston Martin, it was a DB9.
DB9.
No, DB7. Sorry.
DB7.
DB7 Volante with the Cosworth exhaust. That sounded fantastic. So all of a sudden, my neighbors think I'm a drug dealer because I'm squeezing these exotic cars into my garage.
Yeah.
And that was the first assignment. Yeah.
Why would they send you those kind of cars? Is it because of the assignment that was handed? Like,
I think it was the venue. It was an upscale lifestyle magazine.
okay.
And it's always hard to get those placements. Like, if you're a PR person, getting it into Car and Driver, Road and Track is like shooting fish at a barrel. Like you're automatically going to get the coverage from the Buff magazine. So Motor Trend, all those guys usually doing the same thing. Sometimes one gets like an advance over the other because there's an exclusivity.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that's like a set thing. It's harder to get, the Maxims, the Men's Journals, all the lifestyle magazines.
Okay.
And so here I was with this placed story. I said, this is going to run in the summer issue, the whatever month it was. And they just trip over themselves to get you these cars. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. So you did the article. This was your first paycheck doing something that you love.
Yep.
I
loved the film and TV stuff before, but this was like a childhood.
Yeah,
passion.
that's what I'm saying. That like if you told me that and you told David that, you told any of us that, we're like, dude, this is every boy's dream. Like,
yeah. And then what's funny was Porsche really liked the article, and later they sent me an invitation to go to Virginia National Raceway to drive the 996 GT3. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. I just need to contact my editor to make sure that they can pay for the airfare and to get me over there in a hotel. And the Porsche guy laughed. He was like, no, don't worry. We got that. We'll take you out there. You don't have to do a thing. So I'm like, that's great. Awesome. So I clear the story. I get the story placed and I go, they fly me out there.
Yeah.
And first night, I'm sitting there at the bar before dinner, and Hurley Haywood, amazing, legendary race driver, sitting next to me at the bar. And I order a drink, and I try to pay for his drink and my drink, and he's like, no, we got that covered.
Oh,
I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
I'm like, and I try to tip, and he goes, no, we got that covered too. I'm like, geez, this is amazing.
Man. So that was your first entry to this business.
Yeah. So my first trip was GT3. That was my first experience driving on a racetrack. And then it just continued. I traveled to Europe a lot. I drove almost every racetrack I could possibly dream of.
Yeah.
I've driven on the Autobahn very fast a bunch of times.
Like you've driven?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's my job, yeah.
Yeah. But driving on most of them, when you go on the racetrack, they usually have you as a passenger.
No, I have to drive. I have to drive the car to get my impressions.
So once you came back from the Porsche one, right? Mm-hmm. How did you say like, okay, this is it. This is how I'm going to build my business. Because most people will be like, oh, this was like a fluke. Thank you so much. It was a great time. I lived my dream. That's it. I'm going to go back to production or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But you decided to pursue this career.
Honestly, I didn't pursue it as actively as I could have.
Okay.
But it worked and the gears kept turning and it started snowballing into other magazines. And, I thought I was just going to be purely production for a long time.
Yeah.
But it really kind of snuck up on me, to be honest.
Really?
But the thing is, it's all encompassing. Like anything you do, once you get into it, it's a deep rabbit hole. Like it started with magazine work and it expanded to travel and writing for magazines and then books and then more. And you kind of wake up one morning of, oh, I guess this is the new me. I guess this is got to change my business card, know?
So when you changed your business card, for example, like when did you say, okay, this is my business. This is the way I want to build this now. And take us through those steps of actually building the business versus this being a hobby now.
I really have to look at things holistically to wrap my head around what the possibilities are.
Okay.
And that's really what led me back to video is I know a lot about visual language. I know a lot about storytelling through pictures. And I know a lot about cars. How can I combine that into something that's unique and different? Mm-hmm. And that's why I named the production company Chronoscope, because Chronoscope is a device that takes high-speed pictures, but it captures a moment. And it's a moment in time. It's not just telling about the sheet metal, and it's not just talking about the stuff that gearheads like you and me talk about.
Yeah.
It's about intangibles and feelings and the way machines move us. And that was kind of okay, I needed a unique selling proposition, so to speak.
Okay.
To use marketing lingo. But that's really the way I looked at it, was something that, how can I bring something to the table that not everyone does? And that's what I do with my writing too. Like, I write from a very personal perspective. You know, I give my perspective on what works and what doesn't work, and what excites you from a car and what you can do without. And that's the beauty of non-AI writing, is that you have the fingerprint of the author in there, and, you know, hopefully you can hold up my work and block out my name and recognize that it was me.
Yeah.
Versus the other guy who's writing about cars, because we have different perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, that applies to almost anything you do. I think, you know, like, it's all about what you can bring to the table. It's you're sort of the vehicle for the perspective more than you are just the facts, unless you're an engineer, and that's great. But
even an engineer, I think the way they touch and feel some of the gears, they could explain things that, you know, not a normal person could kind of go through. And you still write a lot of articles till today.
I do.
Like,
yeah.
I saw that you wrote about the new S-Class.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you haven't driven it yet, right?
Yeah, so that was an interesting one. We went to Sindelfingen at the factory in Mercedes-Benz.
Okay.
And got a closed door peek at it. So they take your cell phones, they put them in a Ziploc, basically. And you go and you sit in the car and you feel it, you touch it, you talk to the engineers, you talk to the designers. Ola Kalinus, the head of Mercedes, came and spoke to us about what it means to him. And basically get a preview of it, and then they take you around for a drive in the car. It's camouflaged.
Yeah.
So you just experience it as a passenger, because it's a really early peak, you know, and I'll probably drive the car when they release it for journalists.
Yeah.
But it was an early sneak peek.
It looked really nice.
They're doing incredible things. I mean, this cloud-based computing now, every S-Class will map out the road that it's driven on and note where the potholes are, upload that to the cloud so that the other S-Classes that are driving around will adjust their suspension when they travel over that exact spot.
Whoa.
So using the cloud for basically telemetry for the road surface conditions. And they've got, you know, they're just always trying to find new things to get ahead of the competition. So now they've got seatbelts that are heated, so your chest gets warm. So like they did the air scarf in the convertibles. Now they've got this part, you know, they have the armrests heated. Now everyone's doing that. So, you know, they're always looking for the next thing.
Is there anything that's like, sometimes it's just too much? Like the seatbelt thing, for example.
Honestly, like I drive a 1963 Land Rover that's carbureted. And
I heard of it.
And has like non-independent suspension.
Yeah.
And a 4-speed that's not a synchro mesh gearbox.
Yeah.
Everything feels luxurious.
But that car will run you forever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you believe in like, you know, the EMF wave, like ruining all electronic devices, like that's going to outlast that, you know? Yeah, these things have gotten out of control. It's great. I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of luxurious features and creature comforts, but what makes me happy is when I feel either extreme, when I'm so impressed by a car's refinement and I just can't believe that it just like, how did they smooth out that bump? How do you not even notice the engine, even though it's a internal combustion engine? Like that stuff is impressive to me, but the opposite is also impressive. Like a car with the engine that's rigidly mounted to the frame, that's vibrating, that is a, you know, a hyper sports car that you feel so intuitive with the handling that you can take corners faster than you ever thought you could. Like that stuff is exciting to me too.
Right.
It's just such a spectrum.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. In the early days of your business, what was a pivotal moment for you? And did you feel like you made any mistakes at the time? And how'd you end up defining your niche?
I made more mistakes than I can count. And I still continue to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, working for yourself, you have to make a decision every day in terms of what direction you're going to take. And you're always trying to maximize opportunities. And if you're situationally aware enough of what's out there, I think you realize, oh, I missed that opportunity. Oh, I should have followed up on that one, or should have closed the loop on this one, or maybe I shouldn't have done that because I could have done this. And, you know, you get a million possibilities in your head. It's really hard to be peaceful with your decisions, but you've really got to kind of like be organized, you know? I wish I was more organized in the beginning. Now I keep lists and I keep, who should I follow up with and who would I need to keep track of and what project needs a little push or what project do I need to pull back on because it's taking too much time.
Yeah.
And it's a constant management,
What system, to feed off of that, what system did you finally put in place that you're like, okay, this is my system now and this is how it's going to work?
Honestly, it is still an evolving process.
Okay.
But like even just like simple things like the reminders app, like if you put 5 things in the beginning of the day, if you can tick 3 of those things off, 4 things off, you're just chipping away. It's a constant chipping away because at least with what I'm doing, I have a lot of different points of contact in the industry.
Oh, for sure.
So I've got a lot of manufacturers. I could reach out to a manufacturer and say, hey, I think it'd be cool to do a story with this car. I could do a road trip with it. And I can place it in this magazine. And then on the publications ends, there's, 5, 6, 7, 8 magazines I could reach out to and pitch ideas to. And then there's also the video stuff like, oh, I'd love to do a video with this car. I wonder what they want to promote now that I could work on, so the wheels are always turning.
Yeah. At what point did people stop seeing you as like the car guy and start seeing you as the like luxury authority?
I think the luxury aspect came hand in hand with the cars.
Okay.
For better or worse. I really did enjoy for a while. I was on the jury for North American Car of the Year, and I got to vote on Car of the Year, and I got to experience a lot of low, medium, high-end cars, but the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have a really broad survey of what cars are out there. And I was shocked at how many great cars there were that are affordable. I had to pull myself out of that organization because they do the video work, and I can't do it seems like a conflict of interest. So they didn't want me to do that kind of work to keep the voting as objective as possible. Mm-hmm. But the luxury thing was always kind of just part of what I was into.
Yeah, but your name holds a lot of weight now.
Well, it's nice to hear.
Not to be coy about it, like your name holds a lot of weight, and when people hear about you, they're like, "Oh, this guy."
Well, you're too kind. Thank you.
So it's like there has to be a point where, like, now from all these contacts and all these relationships that you've built, now the business feels like it should have shifted now to say, like, okay, you know what? We need Basem to go review this car. We need Basem to go look at this car. We need his production to do this. This car commercial or wherever it may be. Like, when did that kind of turn into like, hey, you're now getting phone calls saying, hey, come out and come look at our cars, come out and do this, come out and do that?
I don't know if there's a moment, and honestly, it always feels like it's an ongoing struggle. I'm always fighting.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you do this long enough, and I think you're always trying to be on the edge, and you're always, and then you're like, oh, why did I not get invited to that?
Okay.
And there's undulations, but you can't do it all, and you can't expect to be invited to everything. You know? And like, then sometimes like you're like, okay, oh, they just released the new Ferrari Luce's interior today.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to see that, but then, maybe I'll get a Ferrari invite to drive like next week. Like, you never know.
Okay.
Like, these things go up and down, and there's other fish in the pond, so.
Yeah. Is there anything that's like unglamorous about this dream job?
What's unglamorous also snuck up on me is the fact that when you have people that you care about back at home and you want to be with them and you have to be somewhere else, it eats away at you. It's really tough.
Yeah. No
matter how glamorous it is, that whatever it is that I'm doing, like overseas or whatever, no matter how great the car is, like, my parents are getting older, my kid is getting older, my wife misses me, like all these things, like, I just, you want to be able to be there too.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't do it everything. So
yeah. Well, I guess maybe I'll just pivot in this question. It's a little bit further, but I might as well ask you now. It's like, how do you have this balance between family and are there any non-negotiables for you? I have a 3-year-old, and
congratulations,
like,
great age,
and it
gets better and better.
I hope so. I don't know what it's going to be like when she's a teenager, but when I don't spend like 4 or 5 days with her, I feel, guilty. So how did you, because there are some cars you have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be there. And I would assume at bare minimum, it's a 4-day trip at a bare minimum.
Yep.
Right. So how did you find this balance between work, the work that you love, and, home base, and what are some non-negotiables for you?
Well, the great thing about not having a regular day job that I have to go into is when I get back home, I'm there 24 hours a day. Like,
Okay.
I love that. I love being able to work from home when I'm at home. I do have an office I go to, but usually I'm at home. My wife also works from home, so we're around each other when we're at home. I'll drop the kid off to school. Sometimes I'll go to the office and just clear my head a little bit and get some writing done there or work done there. But the non-negotiables really, it's about communication. So like I'll tell my wife, like there's certain holidays, obviously, that I'm not going to, like Formula One in Miami fell on Mother's Day one year or whatever. I'm like, sorry, I got a great invite, but I'm going to stay home for Mother's Day. I couldn't imagine missing that, But communication is really important too. Like if there's something that's kind of iffy, I'll just throw it to her and say, hey, look, like, should I go on this trip or should I be here for that thing that you kind of want me to be here for?
She gives you a straight answer?
And she's honest.
Okay.
I mean, but she's very generous though. That gets me because she's like, no, you go. You're going to enjoy yourself more. I'm like, no, but come on. Are you sure? Maybe she's just really smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the more communication, the better. It's so important to just be on the same page.
Yeah.
I hate the word sacrifice or compromise because it's never really like that. It's more like just understanding. Like, just like if she wanted to ask me like what she should do, I would just tell her how I feel.
Yeah.
And she's very considerate and she would understand,
So communication, non-negotiable. Right. And then what about with your son? Is there anything that you guys have that are non-negotiable that's kind of helped your relationship with your kid, even though you're traveling all over the place?
I think the real thing is being really present when I'm around.
Gotcha.
And it's tricky because I do have to do work when I'm back too.
Yeah.
Because I'm off having fun driving cars. So, the work has to fit into some slot.
Yeah.
But that's why I stay up late. But like, he loves, for instance, to walk. He loves going on walks and talking.
Really?
And so I just like every day we go out and he talks my ear off and, we have a good time just connecting that way.
Yeah.
And like, he's not an athletic kid. Like, I'd love to go ride bikes with him or something, but his thing is walking. So we go on hikes, we go on walks, and that's something like you couldn't take it away. It's just too good,
Okay. Nice.
One more non-negotiable. We almost to make up for the times that I'm away and to help with my work because I go to Europe a lot, is we try to spend about a month in Europe every summer.
Family,
yeah.
Different countries in Europe, I would presume, or
Often Italy because we're junkies, but yeah.
Okay.
we've gone other places too. Yeah, but that's one of those things that it's our little reward because I'm away quite a bit. Mm-hmm. We set up camp there. We work remotely in Italy, and we get to or somewhere in Europe usually, and it's just a really special time. And we've been doing it for a few years now.
Wow.
And it means a lot to have that time. So yeah.
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, and it actually makes business sense too because when I'm there, I make a lot of trips to drive stuff too, and go to press events. But it's a lot closer, so I can go and just be gone for a day or two.
Does your son have the same enthusiasm about these vehicles, or he's kind of like, that's Dad's thing. I don't really care.
He is so beyond cars. He's like rockets,
Oh, really?
Cars are nothing. So I can pick him up from school in some really exotic hardware. Like I picked him up once in a Ferrari and I thought it was pretty cool. I pulled up and he gets in the car and it's only like a 5-minute drive home. And he just tells me about his day. He's like, yeah, so-and-so did so blah, 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 blah. And we pull up to the house finally. I'm like, did you notice anything about this car?
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
So yeah, the genes skip the generation, but it's all good.
But again, I'm just going on a tangent here, but like your wife is kind of into cars too. I've been watching a couple of your guys' videos. I don't know if that's initially how it started, but Like
I
when
like to
she's
say I sucked her
Yeah,
into the world slowly. I mean, when we met, we met at UCLA.
okay.
I would take her for drives. I had the Mustang from high school, and then I had a Miata, then I had a BMW. These were all convertibles at that point.
Okay.
We would take so many drives at the top down and drive down Sunset and play music. And, when you get into it like that, like, how could you not love cars?
Right.
And then we started going to Pebble Beach, and she'd go to the concourse, and she just was blown away by the beauty of the classic cars.
Yeah.
And she slowly fell in love with it. Yeah.
Pebble Beach is a very special place.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, when we used to go, it was like so much smaller than it is now. But we were starving students, and like we'd be like, oh, should we buy a $20 glass of champagne? We should share it. We'll share it. So we'd buy a glass of champagne. We'd sip it really slowly.
Yeah.
But we had the best time. And that's why I feel really fortunate now to have the access that I do, because when I go there now, like, I'm taken care of. I just have to show up, and it's
nice.
pretty magic. Yeah.
Was there any projects or articles or books that nearly failed, and what kept you from walking away during that lowest point?
A lot of projects can teeter on the edge of working or not working.
Okay.
And sometimes you don't get the cooperation that you need to support the story. Sometimes people don't call you back. Sometimes you get a roadblock. Sometimes you get something that happens. Sometimes you have to walk away. Very rarely, but sometimes you have to walk away. Yeah.
Okay.
And, I think the thing is that not everything was meant to be. So
Yeah.
that's part of the challenge, is having that resolve of saying, okay, I've done everything I could. This is not great. This is not going to be what it should be. And we have to find something else. So it doesn't happen very often. And thankfully, being in media, a lot of people want the attention and want the story out there. But sometimes they don't.
So like anyone who starts their own business and they go through their course of building the business, when they reach some of these low points, that they have like 1,000,001 thoughts that happen in their mind. Is this the end? This was a fun ride? If you've ever gone through that, what made you decide to keep going?
Big picture.
Or was it even like a thought you're like, oh, this is the end? Or is this just like, hey, this is a speed bump? It's not going to derail me from what I really love.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the industry right now is got a lot of headwinds.
Yeah.
Publishing is really challenging right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the volume of work out there is not what it used to be. And that was a bit of, for me, a bit of a pivot to video was sort of like putting more energy into something that has legs like that. So, I mean, I think there will always be magazines, there will always be stories in publishing to tell, but the industry at large has shrunk quite a bit.
Yeah.
A lot of the magazines that I used to write for don't even exist anymore. So,
Right.
There's that. But I think that's also the challenge of any entrepreneur, is being flexible, because markets change so quickly now. And it's going to change more quickly with AI and all the stuff that's, affecting the industry. So,
Well, you actually brought a good point. Again, this is a question later on, but we're going to bring it up now. In your industry now, there are people that do minute clips about a car, very quick, very, moving pretty forward. How do you feel about these new individuals that are now in, like, there's a guy named Forrest.
sure. Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you might be aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way he goes through the car, very genius, right? But it's very different than you riding in a car.
I think it's great. I mean, like, rapid fire bullet points of information are great. And it has its place, just like long form has its place, just like a 2,000 word feature that's historical has its place. It's just a different medium, and I love the shorts.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not good at it, but it's not my strength.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a go sometime, but like, I mean, I have fun doing videos with my wife where we go back and forth and talk about.
I think those videos are awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Better Half Drive. Yeah.
Yeah, Better Half Drive. It's so awesome to see like you and your wife driving a car and you're just talking it through.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you're doing more of the talking than she is.
Well, she doesn't want me to do all the talking, which is funny because I'll start to go down a rabbit hole of like describing the technical things about the car.
Yeah.
And then you can see her face, like her
Yeah.
eyes are rolling back in her head.
And it's
But it's like a lot of relationships.
oh yeah, 100%. Also, I really think it's cool the way that you stop somewhere and you let her drive.
Oh, I force her. She hates driving these
Really?
cars. She freaks out. Like a $500,000 Lamborghini, she has no desire to drive it.
Yeah.
And I just say, no, please, it's time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to do it.
So I love that relationship between you and your wife, like brought to light. And it's just like about the car. And I think that's really cool. And I love that it's always like 14 minutes, something.
They're pretty long, yeah.
They're long, but not that long. So it's kind of nice to see that. So that's a pretty awesome.
Glad you enjoy it.
I did. You had an opportunity to be endorsed by Jay Leno.
He did write the foreword to one of my books.
Right. How was that?
He's amazing. You know, Jay is like, this was like at the height of his busyness with TV. I mean, he was doing the Tonight Show at the time. This was my book, Legendary Motorcycles. And I reached out to him and he was responsive. And then when I'd follow up with him, like he'd take my call and he said, hey, yeah, I'm on another phone call right now, but I will do this or I'll get back to you. And he was great. Like he just like gets it done, you know?
Yeah.
And he doesn't ask for anything. Like he just does it for the love of helping people.
Really?
He's an awesome guy. Yeah.
Did you ever get to actually meet him, or was this just a phone call?
Yeah. I see him around quite often. I literally saw him 2 days ago.
Oh.
At Bruce Meyer's garage. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Have you ever been able to see his collection of cars?
I have, yeah.
And your thoughts?
Incredible, because you get through one room and you think, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then you realize there's another room and then another room. Oh, there's a French room and there's American muscle cars and then you round a corner and then it's like Duesenbergs and then there's like motorcycles. It goes on and on.
Has he ever told you his most prized possession? Like, this is my car. This is my heart.
Well, he never puts it that way, but I have a feeling that the McLaren F1 is right up there because he knows how special it is and he knows what it's worth now, which is like, you know, I think he paid $700,000 or $800,000 for it, and now it's 25 million.
Yeah.
He loves driving the P1, which is interesting to me.
How does he get in and out of the P1?
It's not that bad, actually.
Really?
Yeah. But
pretty
he's got
low.
like 12,000 miles on it. I mean, he drives it a lot.
Oh.
And he was just, you know, he's literally just saying this. He's like, all these guys with 918 Spiders are saying that their batteries went bad because they never drove the cars. And my P1's battery is at 92% because I drive it all the time.
Wow.
And, you know, he keeps it on a charger when he's not driving it. So, a trickle charger. So,
Can you tell us when he wrote for you, right? How was that? Like, what can you explain to the audience what forewords means?
yeah, the foreword is an introduction to the book, and it's usually by an outside party to just kind of set the tone.
Okay.
And it's really a great opportunity for another voice to just kick things off before you get into the meat of the book. And so, you know, he talked about a little bit of his passions, his interests, and I did that with Sterling Moss too. He wrote the foreword to my Legendary Race Cars book. And he brought a lot to the table too, because he was talking about the relationship between the driver and the race car, and it's like a woman, and sometimes, you know, like he was just really poetic about it. And the beauty of that kind of thing is you kind of never know what you're going to get, but I think it's really valuable to open up other people to get their voices and to get their perspectives. And I mean, that's one thing, like, you know, I don't like generative AI in the creative arts because it takes that away.
Yeah.
Like, it might have something to say, but it won't necessarily have the personality or direction of somebody who has life experience. It's just gleaning things that other people have said and kind of mishmashing it and putting it together. So,
Do you think at least it's a good assistant tool?
it's great for research.
Okay.
I mean, I use it for research in terms of just finding blind spots of things that I didn't know, or if I want to go deeper into a subject, it's a great aggregator.
Right.
But you have to fact check it too.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly.
I mean, it's humans still have 6 fingers, so can't rely on it entirely.
No. No, we were just talking about how it gives you the wrong answer several times.
Oh, it gets stubborn sometimes.
Yeah, it gets
and then
stubborn.
you dig into it and you have an argument with it.
Yeah.
You're like, but how does this work? If A plus B equals C,
Right.
how does, you know?
And then they're like, oh, you're right. Stop agreeing with me. Just tell me what is the right answer to this
Yeah,
thing.
I want to turn off the sycophant mode.
Yeah.
Like that. Just doesn't work for me. I want the New Yorker AI that's like, you know,
Talking back.
putting me in my place.
Yeah, this is why you're wrong. Okay, cool. We can fight about it.
Exactly.
What do you obsess over in your reviews or your books that your competition completely ignores?
What do I obsess over? I'm really big on touch points. I'm really big on when you put your hand, you know, when you turn the switch, does it really feel like metal or does it feel like plastic? Like stuff like that drives me crazy. I pay a lot of attention to that. I obsess over my own writing in terms of trying to avoid repetition and trying to not be predictable. Because I've been doing it so long, I don't want to be like, I don't want somebody to read my stuff and go, oh yeah, he said that before. Or like, I know what I'm going to hear, you know?
Okay.
Staying fresh is always a good challenge.
How do you continue to stay fresh though?
I've got to distract myself. Like I've got to get out like from behind the computer and do something else and have a different life experience and listen to different music and talk to different people.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is all like what makes a creative person create is what's going on up here. And if you're stuck in a loop, it's going to show, you know?
Yeah, and it tends to be a very norm thing, like just normal thing that people get stuck in a loop and that's how they write.
Oh yeah,
That's how they
we're creatures
sing,
of habit, totally.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you do different things to kind of change that perspective.
Yeah, and you always look where you're going, or you always go where you're looking, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're like looking at the pole, you're going to hit the pole. You got to look to the next corner.
Yeah.
To use a racing metaphor, you know.
How do you decide which high net worth relationships you invest in and which ones aren't right for your brand? Is there like a bullet point of things that you go through? You're like, oh, this might be a good article for us. This might not be a good article.
It's gut, honestly.
Okay.
I don't have metrics or parameters in terms of like if something is high end enough or not. It's really a question of, does it make sense? Do I like it? Is it worth talking about? Is this something somebody else wants to hear about?
Now, when it comes to, we kind of dove into it a little bit, but let's kind of go back to the work-life balance. In your personal garage, you have your Land Rover and a couple of vintage Mercedes-Benz.
Had on and off,
On
in
and
and
off?
out. I'm rotating.
Can you tell us about the rotation first before we ask the question?
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like life is short. There's a lot of cars I want to experience. And so I have, for some reason, I've fixated a lot on German cars.
Okay.
And I really want to break myself of that.
Yeah.
Because we have French cars, we have Italian cars. There's a whole like universe of cars out there. But I've had a Fintail Mercedes. I've had an R107 450 SL. I've had a BMW E30 Cabriolet. I've had a 635 CSI. I've had V12 S-Class Coupe from the 90s. I've had a S sedan from the 90s.
Wow.
And they're great cars, but you know, I want to experience different things too. And we have a Range Rover right now. We've got a 2010 Range Rover and we've got the 63 Land Rover. Rode here on a Vespa because I love scooters.
On a Vespa?
Uh-huh.
From Pasadena?
A 300, yep. It'll do 80 on the freeway, yep.
Whoa.
And I have a Ducati that I could have ridden as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I just want to experience more, you know. I want to have a Citroen someday. I want a Jag Mark 10. I've got all these boxes to tick.
So before you buy, like, for example, the Mark 10, do you end up saying like, okay, I can get rid of these cars to make room for this one? Or do you end up just buying this one?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's elastic, yeah.
Okay. There's something really special about like a 88 SL. Hardtop. I've been looking at them quite frequently lately. I'm like, there's something special about this car that it's just like,
So you're talking 560 SL.
Yes.
That's the late R107.
Yes.
The later end of it. They're great cars. I mean, you have to make sure that the steering box has been rebuilt or is in good shape because the steering gets sloppy after a few miles. It's a really torquey engine. It's not a big rever. It's more of a cruiser.
Right.
classic shape. They made a lot of them, which is good and bad. I mean, it's good for parts and, access, but, the values are not really that high. So
it's gone up pretty tremendous. Like, it used to be like a $7,000 car.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's now like 15, 16.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone up, but
Yeah.
you would expect it to be even higher than that because they're
Fair.
They're great cars.
Yeah. But it just, every time I see it, I'm like, wow, this is such a nice cruiser car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a beautiful car.
So that's how it works. Like you see that, like, I've always wanted one of those. Or
Yeah.
I've always been curious about that.
Yeah.
And then you dip your toe, and then the next thing you know, you're talking to your wife and talking about making more room in the garage, right?
Yeah. Well, you have a very forgiving wife, because God knows if me and David ever asked for like 4 or 5 cars in the garage.
Long suffering.
We're long.
Forgiving, long suffering.
When you're choosing between analog and the different cars in a way that creates boundary between your personal work with a new sports car and your personal life, like how do you differentiate between those cars?
We were talking about 911s earlier.
Yes.
I loved having both of these 911s, but especially the 993 for the fact that it was a reference point. It's very analog. Everything about it is about the feel. So the feedback is just a certain way. The steering feedback is great. It makes these great sounds. It has these smells. Mm-hmm. And it's hard sometimes to go into, no matter how expensive it is, to go into a new car and find those things. Because even just by requirements of legality and, you have to weed out some of the sound. And then the weight takes away some of the feeling, and you have this spiral of, dilution. Mm. So there is something about me enjoying analog cars and having a baseline that reminds you what you love about cars. Otherwise, you're going the direction of full self-driving and things that are not even driving. And you're like, okay, that's great for some people, but I like to drive.
Yeah. For my birthday, like 4 years ago, my wife and I ended up renting a 991.2.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove it for the weekend. And when I finished, I was telling my wife, oh, this is me. This is me. Every single aspect.
And did she get it?
She got it. Because she also drove it. And
That's
she was
a good
like,
wife.
Yeah. She drove it and she's like, wow. Why do you think every guy who experiences a Porsche feels that way? Like, this is the perfect car. Even people that hate Porsche, when they drive the 911, they change their minds. I've seen it many times on Instagram, where like there was this one other guy, he was tracking in Vegas, and he was left with an 911 GT3. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't want to drive this. I want to drive a Ferrari.
Right.
And after he drove the track, he was like, oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Why do you think so many people, or so many men at least, fall in love with it?
The cars talk to you. The Porsches, for some reason, they're tuned so well to communicate what the car is doing that you feel like you're copacetic with it and that you understand what's happening. And there's just enough information to keep you entertained, but not so much that it's annoying or too loud or too whatever. I think there's just something about that brand that really tunes the feedback like just right so that you feel like you're a part of the machine.
One step further.
Mm-hmm.
So I also drove a 917. Sorry, the Cayman.
Oh, 718.
718. Cayman.
917 is a hyper powerful sports car from the 70s that was a Widowmaker. But yeah, I was like, wow,
Widowmaker.
Very impressed.
I drove the Cayman.
Yeah,
and it was one of the higher ends, and I love that it was a mid engine. Mm-hmm. But I did not get the same. And I would venture out, and it was faster than the 911S that I drove. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get the same feeling. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is too? Like, or am I just wrong?
No, a lot of people feel that way. There's something about a 911 that is just different. The Cayman is probably a more perfect car in terms of a sports car.
Absolutely.
It rotates nicely. The engine is in the middle. The engine's in the right place.
Right.
but character-wise, it lacks the character of a 911. And there's something about the engine in the back in a 911. The steering ends up being a little bit lighter. It's maybe a little bit more challenging in corners in a way, less so with the more modern ones, but still there's just more quirks.
I've always found that interesting because if we're going to hug turns, the Cayman is the one, not the 911. But when I drove both of them, I'm like, the 911 still speaks to me.
Yeah. Even when they started making Caymans that were faster than some 911s, I feel like they gave a character to the 911 that is just so unique. There's no car out there now that feels like that.
For the next generation that's starting today, if you had to build your brand from scratch in 2026, would you still focus on the legendary machine, or is there a new niche that you would take in place of that?
I personally, I would go with whatever is capturing my imagination, and I would suggest that whoever's starting now, do that.
Okay.
Whatever that is, because what's right for me is not right for the next person. And there's so much individual voice out there to be expressed, and so many things that we haven't seen yet or heard yet. Like, I want to hear everyone's perspectives and stories, you know? And they might say things in a way that I'd never heard before. And that's the beautiful thing is, you know, who we are.
Yeah. What is one lesson about the business for you that you wish you would have known in high school when you were in that photo lab?
Wish I knew how quickly it would change. I mean, I was developing film, and then when digital cameras came around, there was a whole generation of photographers that I looked up to who were like, well, you're never going to reproduce the quality of film. It'll just, you know, film is always going to be the best. And before you knew it, they were scrambling to get on the digital bandwagon, and they were behind because of it, you know? And I mean, there's so many kids now who can pick up digital editing so quickly and understand how to make an image look like something so unique, you know, like you have to be adaptable. You have to be ready to change.
Isn't it, I don't know if you've noticed this, but isn't it interesting that this generation now, we have our cameras on our phones, but now they're going back to carrying actual disposable cameras. I don't know if you've seen that. And they plug into your phone, but I found that interesting. For the longest time, no one carried a camera. Yeah. And now it's interesting that they're going backwards a little bit and carrying a camera.
Oh, yeah. Everything old is new again. Yeah. I mean, I literally, I parked at a store in South Pasadena, and I went and I grabbed something. I came back out, and there was a guy taking a picture of my Land Rover with a Hasselblad medium format camera film.
To make it look vintage.
He just, I don't know. He was walking by, and I was like, "Oh, hey, dude!" And we started talking. He was like, "Oh, I love Land Rovers." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, cool." And you see my Instagram post? I just posted it. I said, "Would you mind taking a picture of me?" And he took a picture of me after he took a picture of the truck, and then I took a picture of him with my iPhone. Yeah, I felt like a loser. So he's got this beautiful handmade German camera, and I'm like, here. But I think the fascination with analog is inevitable. Yeah. Because if you're surrounded with all these amazing machines that do everything perfectly with no effort, you know, if you really love the craft, you kind of want to try something different. You want to go back to something that's a process and that gives you a different element of control and a lack of control in a certain sense too. I mean, I can control, like with my iPhone, I can control so much. Yeah. And so much in post, but to what end, you know?
Well, something to follow up about the business question is, if you had to go back and start your business again, is there any advice you would actually give yourself and say, like, hey, put these systems, I know you mentioned organization, but is there anything else that you would say, like, hey, Basem, before you start, do X, Y, Z?
I would have gotten more thoughts and ideas from mentors.
Okay.
I had like one or two mentors, but I would have liked more. because those perspectives, like the wisdom of somebody who has been there and done that, is so powerful. And especially if you're going into a field where you don't know,
Yeah.
what direction you can go in, or what you can do, what the options are. It's really good to have somebody just give you a little guidance and tell you, look out for this, think about this, and that would have been really great
To have a few mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need is really one good one, but
Yeah, but it's also nice to find different perspectives, right?
yeah.
Like maybe not so many Egyptians, maybe. that might be because they're like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, you want to be an accountant. You want to do.
A question for kind of your legacy, right? God forbid you pass away today.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing that you hope to instill in your kid that he would carry on for the rest of his life?
Like life-wise?
Life-wise. Maybe give me one life and maybe one business.
Life-wise, just love everyone around you. I mean, there is no shortage of love inside you, and don't hold back. Like, our time is limited. You got to express it, And I feel like sometimes we get so caught up with day to day that, we don't tell the people we love that we love them and how much we love them and how much we appreciate them. Because that's fleeting, and that's very, it can catch you by surprise. I think we've all lost people that we weren't expecting to lose, and you just wish you could go back in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be hugely valuable.
Yeah. And business-wise?
Business-wise, I would say don't quit. Keep pushing. It's a battle. The world does not necessarily want or need you to get to that next level.
No.
You have to make it happen.
Yeah. But then how would you tell him? So this is your kid, and you tell him, okay, listen, let's say, for example, he wants to start a magazine company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the trends of magazine companies today.
Mm-hmm.
How would you tell him not to quit?
Well, it's funny you say that because he wanted to start a blog. He wanted to start a science blog.
Okay.
And both my wife, Anna, and I helped him, and we helped him develop a logo, and we helped him, but he did a lot of the legwork himself. He created the layout, and he went on Wix and figured it out himself.
Yeah.
And he's publishing now, and he's got all these stories that are going.
Uh-huh.
And the great thing is that it's now a thing, and he's got people commenting on it, and he posts philosophy, and he posts his thoughts, and he's just amazingly productive with his writing. I'm jealous of his productivity because he just pounds it out, half hour, and he can have like 1,000-word essay. So he's doing this, and he sees that it's something that's alive now and that has energy. And, we think so much about like his future and like his grades and getting into a good college and all that.
Of course.
And, but this is one of those things, and we tell him, like, you keep this alive, and this will actually help your college admissions someday, maybe, because it'll be something that you did that's outside of school that's valuable. So I think like instilling him in a sense of independent drive and not just focusing on the obvious things. Like, of course we want him to do well in school, but like finding things that he can do that are concrete, that are creating things.
Going off of that, how would you tell him, like, okay, he starts this blog. No one's looking at this blog the first 6 months, 7 months, maybe a year before you get traction. How do you tell someone, your son specifically, like, don't quit?
Yeah.
Like, how do you say, like, okay, if you've gone on for 3 years and there's not a single person clicking or doing anything, then maybe we can discuss it. But how do you create a timeline for him to say, like, this, no matter what you do, you're not going to quit. And then once we reach this point, we'll see if we can pivot and reimagine what we need to do.
I remind him of the purpose of what he's doing.
Okay.
Like, because he right off the bat, he was like, "Do you think I can make money off of this? Do you think I can sell it someday?"
Right.
And I say, be realistic. No, this is not the purpose of what you're doing. Maybe something could happen down the line, but you shouldn't have that as the reason for you doing this, because you'll not get very far. Set a low expectation and be realistic. But I always tell him this this could lead into something that you never planned, and then that will lead into something else. And, you know, it could get you a great job somewhere. It could get you a great position. It could help your business that you set up, you know, like it could go many different ways. So be open.
Okay.
Be open to the possibilities.
Okay.
Because I think we're so trained to have linear ways of thought, but...
And instant gratification.
Oh, instant gratification. Absolutely.
So that's also like a tough, especially in his generation. Like it's tough for us. In his generation, with TikTok and all of these other things, it's instant gratification.
Yeah, and this constant dopamine feed of stimulation. It's like, there's more to life than that. Come on. Like, I love scrolling just as much as the next person, but like, let's admit it, it's like a closed loop.
Yes.
Like, you're not creating when you're doing that. You're actually numbing your brain. So
right.
You have to keep it in check.
Last question I have for you before we go. 5 cars for the rest of your life. I'll tell you mine, but 5 cars. It probably won't be as good as yours for sure.
There's no good or bad. I think this is individual.
5 cars the rest of your life. That's it. In your garage. What would they be?
Cost no object?
Cost no object.
Okay. Citroen DS.
Okay.
Because that suspension is a marvel, because nothing else looks like it. French car, tapered tail, breaks all the rules. It's so weird and wonky. It's elegantly oddball.
Yeah.
And it's just a very singular car. There's nothing else like it. Early 911.
Okay. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm talking like short wheelbase, 65 to 67.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very pure, not very fast, but such a great concept and paved the way for over a half century.
You drove a black one, right?
I've driven an early 911, yeah. I mean, I've driven a couple of them, and they're overvalued right now. Like the values
crazy
are stupid, but they're just so great.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that. Lamborghini Countach.
Okay.
Because it was the poster car on my wall.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was growing up, that was my supercar. I always loved it. Just alien looks, you know, wild V12. They're just great cars. McLaren F1, we're at 4.
Okay.
That's my dream car. That's like the halo. That's the tippy top.
Okay.
To me, ultimate achievement automotively.
Okay.
Everything else can go away.
Oh, really?
It's just the best. So was it 5 or 6?
5.
Oh gosh.
Last one. Last one.
That came fast.
Yeah.
I'm stuck, man. Like there's so many.
Yeah.
5 is really tight. I'm going to go with one that I have, the Land Rover Series 2A.
Okay.
It's like a tractor, okay?
Yes.
It's a terrible car.
Yeah.
But it is such a pure car.
Okay.
It always puts a smile on my face when I drive it. It's completely unpretentious, but it always captures people's imagination and attention. Land Rover series are like the first car that were seen by so much of the Earth's population at the time, because it explored and reached places that no other car could reach at the time. I know Toyota probably made better off-roaders
like
later
Cruisers.
On, more reliable, whatever,
Sure.
blah,
Sure,
blah, blah.
sure.
They can take the reliability. I love early Land Rovers.
Well, speaking of the early Land Rover, how do you feel? And I'll tell you my list later, but how do you feel about this brand called Ineos?
Ineos. Yeah.
It's pretty beautiful.
Sir Jim Radcliffe wanted to buy Land Rover, as you know. He wanted to buy the Defender production line.
Right.
And Land Rover said, go fly a kite, which pissed him off. And you don't want to piss off a billionaire because he can actually take action on his desires. And so he went and made his own car company, and philosophically actually very similar to Defender. So, you know, pure off-road, non-independent suspension, minimalistic construction. Most cars have 150 ECUs. He has 38 in his Grenadier.
Okay.
And but it's really great off-road. I just drove one a few weeks ago in Malibu off-road, and really solid. Not a perfect car, but incredible effort for a first model. And this was the update that I drove.
Okay.
So yeah, and the funny thing is, it looks kind of Defender-ish.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, they're cool.
I was leaving my parking lot from work and I saw it and I didn't go the way I normally go. I went to go follow it because I was like, what is this? And I started looking and I'm like, wait a second. I know that handle, the transmission handle from a mile away. This is a BMW?
Yep.
And I was like, wait, I don't get the concept. Like, this is a Defender with a BMW engine. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of specs that you can build on it, but also you do have a lot of specs. You have a lot of like a la carte things you can do, but also not a lot of a la carte things you can do.
Yeah, they have a model now called the Detour Arcane. So it's a higher spec. It's like 150 grand.
Yeah.
And it's a little more personalized looking. You can like, I mean, on any of them, you can like get the frame in like powder coat red, or you can change the frame color, which looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're ordering a Range Rover and you can get a million different things.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of the philosophy of the company. I'm actually going to have one in LA for a week on Wednesday if you want to check it out. So,
yeah, that's such an awesome car.
let's go for a drive.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, my 5 cars.
Yeah, please.
Okay. The 991.2. That's just been in my thoughts.
That was love at first taste.
That was love at first taste.
Uh-huh.
I really like a 2002 Toyota 4Runner.
Uh-huh.
I think those cars are just anything older than that, I would totally take. The P1 that you mentioned.
F1.
Or sorry, F1 that you mentioned. That's a must. I really like the SL, the one that you had.
Yeah.
I think this is a great cruiser car. Right? And I will go just one newer car that I've been like in love with lately. And again, this might change, obviously, as I grow older. But the new Lexus GX.
Yeah.
I really like what they did with that car. And the way that they built it.
And you could go anywhere with it, too.
And you can go anywhere with it.
Which is a huge plus.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to, but you know that you could.
Yeah.
Just to know is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I see that car a little bit lifted, I'm like, wow, this is it. So
love it.
But yeah, thank you for being on with me.
Dude,
I really
thank you for
appreciate
having me. This is great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you guys for listening. As usual, we're on the outro.